What's up, everyone? It's your TrainerDell, and in this video I have for you just some of my Commander games that went on since we moved to the apartment. So this is from like June all the way to the end of the year, and these are the numbers right here. I was heavily inspired from Joey Schultz of the EDH Recast, and I'm filming this in like a garage or something like that in my car. But I also kind of got curious on how my games were going and my percentages. So as you can see right here, we played a total of 49 games. We would have like a weekly game night where friends would come over. I only counted the games that had 4 or more people in it. There was a few games where there was just 3 of us, just like playing for fun. I didn't like track that, and I think I did pretty well. I've always been like, I wouldn't say the better player, but I had like the most experience in my play group most of the time. A lot of them were either learning Magic, getting into it. Mugi has been in it for a long time, but he plays more for fun. He doesn't really play to win as much. He's just there hanging out. We get food, pizza most of the time. So, like, I'm not trying to say like I'm a diehard player or anything like that. Like, I think a lot of the games were more fair than whatnot. I just think it's just little decisions here and there, and just some of the synergies that my deck has, or my decks have. These are just the numbers right here, and I kind of want to go over each and every deck just a little bit. So sit back, relax, and chill. I'll just like talk a little bit, and this will be more like a podcast. It's just like my thoughts and everything. I guess this will just be a TrainerDell thoughts type of video. And yeah, we'll just go from here. As you can see, my most winningest deck is the Eloise deck, and I'll get to that on the reason why. And I'm actually surprised that my Chandra did not win a game at all at the apartment. Maybe another 1 or 2 games, maybe it could have got there. As you can see, there's games played, games won, the percentages of them, the price that they're kind of at, and then their colors. I don't think the colors really matter that much, or the price point of them. Because obviously Eloise is like cheaper than Olivia and Ryu, and yet it got like 1 more win in 1 less games type of thing. And just yeah, we'll just kind of go through each deck, and I'll just explain some cards that I think benefit here, all the cards and everything. I'm just doing this on my iPad. But yeah, Olivia Voldaren, Rakdos, Flyer, 1 in a red that pings a damage, and then of course 3 and 2 black to gain control of target vampire. This is my first ever Commander deck. This is a deck that I don't think I ever will take apart again. There was a time I didn't play this, but she's just so, for me, I don't care how power crept she is. For me, at least, I am not dropping this Commander ever again. She won, was that 33%, 6 out of 2 games? A lot of these numbers are really small in terms of things too. I just want to say that. This is just a very, very small group size, but it's just, what happened. I just wanted to keep track during the time in the apartment. So out of 6 games, she won 2, and those 2 came at the very end, really. I had like not won with Olivia because a lot of my play group caught up on how the deck is played. It's a very controlling deck, very, how can I say, mean in a sense. But I play her like, whoever's trying to get ahead, I'm going to take you down a notch. That's kind of how I play it. And like those 4 early games, where I was like 4-0, I just couldn't do it. Like, I was taking things down, but someone was building something up in the background. So even though you take down the strongest player you think, there's someone in the middle that's just like building, and then finally gets their win con. And that's just what happens. So at the last 2 games I played her, with her, I really wanted to win. So I kind of focused, I wouldn't say hyper focused, but I was like, I'm going to try to do things that would help me win rather than just control the board. And that's what I did. 2 important cards in this deck. One of them being Basilisk Collar or any Death Touch, really, because like I said, this deck is more for the Death Touch. The +1/+1 counters don't really matter, except like maybe at the end of the game I can get like a commander kill, a commander damage kill. And this card, Braid of Fire, is just amazing synergy. Like if I'm able to get all 3 of these on the board, it just holds it down so well, because you cumulative upkeep, you keep getting red, and I can use that red to just ping things down for free. And that's what happened. We played at the start of the new year, and Olivia came out and won her first game because I got these 3 things out right away. Like, I was surprised that these came out. Again, I do run tutors in this deck. This is my most expensive deck as of right now. So, like I would tutor for a land those 4 early games, and then the last 3 times I played her, I'm not counting the last win that I had this year, but I actually tutored for things that would help me progress my board state, rather than just like, okay, I'm just, I have this tutor in the deck, but I'm going to tutor a land just because I want to be fair. So yeah. Next deck is Ryu, World Warrior, one of my favorite decks. Another deck that I don't know if I'll ever take down because I have so much fun with this deck. I played Wylith when that came out during Commander Legends, and for the long time, a lot of stuff transferred over to this Ryu deck because I just have so much fun. I'm a big fan of Ryu. The only way I would ever replace this is if they ever bring Kyo Kusanagi to Magic the Gathering. I don't know if they ever will, but somehow, some way, maybe. Depends on the deck and the style of play. But yeah, this Ryu training, which doesn't really come up often, but sometimes can. And the Hadouken is just super fun and very threatening. But one of my favorite cards in this deck is the Great Sword of Tyr. It just does 2 things I really like. Tap down one of my opponent's creatures, so early game I can get in for damage, and also gives me that +1/+1 counter. Getting Ryu stronger, like most people will play it with just swords and everything, and which again, it's funny because this is a sword. But I just think Ryu excels with +1/+1 counters if it can stick, and especially with like cards like the Ozolith and stuff like that here and there. I do have a lot of those synergies. I think it's just it's like super fair, and it's like a puzzle I'm putting together. Like, how do I get the right damage? How can I get the right Hadoukens? Are my opponents gonna get bigger creatures? Can I tap those down? But yeah, this one won, it won 1 more than Olivia at half the games I played. 6 games I played, 3 games I won. And I will say one of those games was a very political thing. We all agreed no one would win before turn 6 because Samurai was threatening killing on turn 3, and we were like, guys, let's all please just like play the game a little bit. So thank you, Samurai, for honoring that. But someone like board wiped, and it took away like his resources. He's a Voltron player, so he lost his soul, he lost his equips and everything, and he just never recovered in that game. And I felt a little bad. So spiritually, he won that game. But the data wise, I won that game. But thank you, Samurai. That shout out to you, because we're Boros boys. But Zirda the Dawnwaker, just helping Ryu get that Hadouken cost way lower, is another really good card in the deck, and one that I'm happy is in there. Now we're going to Eloise, which was my most winningest deck, and it's crazy. I don't know if you guys can hear that right now. There's a fire truck coming on through. I can't really think while this is going on, like my thoughts, but hope everything's okay. I think it's so funny this happened on Eloise, because Eloise is my most winningest deck, my most threateningest deck. I had to depower Eloise when we moved because she was winning too much, and still was winning a little bit too much, because I actually had tutors in here. I had so many things. This is more of a combo deck, the Clue Aristocrats, as I call it, and I was doing a little too much. But she still won, and I think it's just due to the fact that a lot of our play group is combat focused and not combo focused. So bringing a deck like this out, and everyone's hitting each other or setting up defenses, it just gets the win more times than not. Like I said, 5 games played, 4 games won. That's 80% right there. And but I want to say some good cards. Obviously, is like March of the Machines. This and any pinger in Eloise is just that's the Wombo combo. That's a game winner, and I get this out a lot. Sometimes I don't even have this card in hand. I have a setup, and this past half of the year, I just wanted to draw into this naturally through my own effects, through surveilling, through stuff like that. I didn't want to search for it. And I'm telling you, there's so many games where like I would have lost the very next turn, but this showed up and I played it, and I had a counter spell or something in hand where no one could stop it, and it stuck and just won me the game. And then another card I actually sold when we moved, but then recently picked back up because I just decided like it'd be fun to put back in there because it's so synergistic, is Black Market Connections. It does everything I want. It gives me a treasure token. I can draw more cards, and I can create another token. So because of this deck needing creatures on board, the Shapeshifter token does well. When I sack a token with the treasure, I can surveil. I don't think I'll ever take this card out again. I think this is just really good overall. And I think it's like one of the most, I mean, I'm probably biased, but I think it's super fair. Like the life loss obviously isn't as much, but the more you do it, you just become an easier target. So I did play Eloise with this card in the deck in this new year, and lost my one game that I got to play with her during our game night. But I was having fun. Didn't really matter. I was very content playing things out. And yeah, like I said, I'm not trying to tutor as much anymore to try to like just win. So we'll see how Eloise does this year from the data, and if I need to tweak her back up a little more, because but I think she's fine where she's at. Next deck is my Chandra deck. This is again one of my older decks right here. This is the Chandra Fire of Kaladesh that turns into Chandra Roaring Flame. This deck lost every game. I won like a 3-game pod that we were having fun with, just as we were waiting for one of our other play group members to come in. But yeah, they know the tricks. My play groups know the tricks. They know just to not, like, there's something that we have where we like just hate planeswalkers for some reason. I think it's just a funny little meme within our play group that like if a planeswalker comes down, we're just gonna kill it regardless. We don't care if it does nothing. So like I get targeted a lot with the Chandra, but they know. Mana Geyser, one of being the best cards, almost got me a win, but I just couldn't get there. And then Fire Emancipation, when this comes down, you know, they just know. My opponents just, they don't want to be taking all this burn damage. So I get killed usually first when I play my Chandra deck. But it's fine, it's fair. Like I don't have a ton of creatures defending me anyways. This is just more like if I can get the burn off, if I can get the combo, if I can get planeswalkers down to do things. So I'm not even mad. I love Chandra. I always think about like disbanding her, but then whenever I look at it, I'm like, I just have too much fun. I just want to see the world burn with this deck. I don't really care if it wins at this point. Which brings me to another deck, which is Alayla. Alayla is a deck that is also very threatening. my opponent's kind of, during the before the move, Alayla was getting a good amount of wins, and then this time around I only got to play her 3 game nights, and she only won 1. I think she won the first game that I played with her, and the next 2 were just more like other nights where it was just filler, just throwing it in there. Obviously against like my boy Nahishi and Samurai's nephew, they play dragons and flyers, so usually I bring this out against them. And their dragons just usually overtake. They definitely did overtake. Like the first time I played it was like a very fair, fun game with everyone. And then when in those 2 pods where they were just bigger flyers that came out way faster, or like not faster but stronger, I could only defend so long. But yeah, I like Alayla a lot. For the longest time, I thought this was a deck that I wouldn't want to ever disband. But as of lately, it's not that those 2 losses didn't crush me. It's more so the deck knows what it does, and I don't have as much fun playing with it, which is I guess why I didn't bring it out as often. A card I love in this deck is Curiosity Crafter, how you can have no maximum hand size. I had like 18 cards one time in hand because of this card, and whenever a creature token deals combat damage, I draw a card. It was crazy. And Sephara Sky's Blade, getting this down, it's super easy in this deck if you're drawn to it, because I play so much artifacts and enchantments that are super low cost that I get the tokens out, tap them, pay 1 white, bring this out. And usually for the turn that I bring it out, I don't really care if someone hits me or whatnot. I'm like, okay, because I know Safar could like block anything that won't kill it, and I'll get some lifelink back. And once I get that ball rolling, it can be really crazy. So yeah, like I wish I had kept track of how many times Alayla was able to kill a player. Like definitely the first game basically killed everyone with Alayla because I just overran the board with flyers. But those next 2 games against the Dragons, I kind of want to remember. I don't remember right now, but where I like ended up, like I'm pretty sure I had like second place both of those games. It's just that I was able to take out someone or someone else, and then just the last player had bigger dragons than my little fairies that even with all the pump ups were like 4 5s or like 5 6s, but then the dragons were all like 7 7s, so it didn't really matter. I kind of just I really wish I had jotted that down, but I'm just doing like, you know, wins and like wins percentages and stuff. Archelaus, my turtle tribal deck. I love this deck. I don't care if it loses. I only played it twice this year or this past half year because we were doing a tribal game, and yeah, I definitely didn't win that. When dragons are on the board, the turtles can do nothing. I might want to not put money into it, but put in like more powerful cards. Like I do have some proxies of like Vampiric Tutor and Demonic Tutor and stuff like that that I can just throw in here. And I haven't yet, just because I like the spirit of just the turtles and just chilling. But there's just pieces I need, and I just never really see through just like normal draw. Because I would really like my turtles to be a little more aggro. And you know, I have assault formation in the deck where my creatures deal combat damage through their toughness rather than their powers, and then I can power them up with the last ability, the 2 and a green, to get +0/+1 to end the turn. But we got a new toy, the Bedrock Tortoise, which as long as it's my turn, my creatures have hexproof, so I can, you know, be a little more aggressive with the turtles. And then each creature, it does the same thing where they deal combat damage with their toughness rather than their power. And man, I would like more. I would like more turtle support in fun little ways. It's interesting that there's been like a turtle almost every set, and they've been all right. But yeah, it's funny because it feels like that slowly but surely the turtles are getting more consistent and getting little pieces here and there, you know? It's just that constant little, right? Just Archelaus' life is not a race. It's just, you know, just little constant here and there, just little stuff. So theme-wise, Archelaus is just perfect for me. Turtle tribal. I know there are such mean builds with Archelaus, but I'm not going to go that route. One thing that I do like, though, is that when he's tapped and then my opponents play like an enchantment, I'm like, hey, that comes in tapped. And it doesn't even matter, or some equip cards that don't even matter, but for me, it's just that fun of like, yeah. What's next on here? Giada's here. And I only played Giada once and lost with it in a pod. The reason for that being is I built this like budget Angels deck because one of my boys was leaving Magic and decided to sell like a lot of his stuff off, like almost whole collection except like little pieces here and there. So like he has, like I put Lyra in here because that was his commander in his Angels deck, and then Folk Hero I put in here because I wanted to draw. I like that little combination of like drawing, getting +1/+1 counters, and then having all the angels having like lifelink and +1/+1. Like it was cool for what it was. And it got second place in that pod too. Like it was so close, just couldn't finish it off. But then that Angel's Secret Lair came out, and one of his friends was like trying to get him back into Magic, so bought it for him. And then so I was like, I don't ever need to play, you know, Giada again. Like there's already Giada. Like he saw, because he wanted to go Lyra, but he saw the fun in Giada, because I was like, yo, Giada's like really good. It's super simple. She comes down, she's an attacker early, she's ramp early, like there's things, and then gets your strategy going. So yeah, he became a believer, so now he's running Giada again, or he's running Giada. So for me, no reason to play her anymore. I might disband this and just take the pieces out, and didn't really need too much from it anyways. So yeah, we got Aurelia, Exemplar of Justice, This one was the budget deck that we all decided to do, like $40 or something like that. 50, I think it was 50 and under, something like that. But I got it really, mine was like what, 35, not including lands, and on TCG player type of thing, really cheap. I was able to play this deck 5 times in the last half year, and I actually got 2 wins. Like, I lost the video, the one that we recorded, but I would just bring this out randomly. I think we did it again, like another budget game, just off camera, and I think I won that one. And then we had this crazy game, and I'm talking crazy that I can remember. Mugi was going off. He was playing his Sephiroth, and he was going crazy, but I was able to get the right numbers, and I had a hidden Boros Charm to give me double strike that he did not expect, and it just got me the win. And 2 cards that I really like in this deck: Duelist's Heritage. I was not a believer in this card for like ever, and you would think I would be, but because I had a lot of cards that gave me like Shroud, or because protection, like, I really didn't target my own stuff, so I just didn't really care as much. But in this deck, it is so good, especially double strike and Aurelia's pump up ability is just so good. And then one thing I forgot is, like, hey, you can give your opponents double strike. So if you're like, hey, if you don't attack me, you hit this other person, I'll give you double strike. And yeah, it's just a really good card. I don't know why I've been off of it for so long, but last year I truly became a believer of Duelist's Heritage. I think it's amazing. And then Firemain Commando. So glad this was in the deck. Whenever I attack with 2 or more creatures, draw a card, which Aurelia wants to do, wants to attack and give Mentor to something and give Powered Up. And then whenever another player attacks with 2 or more creatures, they draw a card if those creatures, if none of them attacked you. So again, with Duelist's Heritage and this, you're like, hey, you can double strike someone else, and you draw a card. Isn't that great? like yeah, you're giving someone a card, but like to keep you alive. And because Firemain Commando's flying and Aurelia's flying, like, usually I'm able to get through. So those 2 wins with it that I got were really fun, in the fact that I had things going for me. And even when I lost, things were still going and stuff. Like, I might, and I probably will upgrade this. Ravnica just dropped, and I really want that anime art, so I might change the budget brew. So next time you go on the Architect and you look at her deck profile, it might be different. Who knows? I might not. I might keep that budget brew there and then just build a different Aurelia. But I'm one who likes to just update my decks. So you'll see like the updated version on my Architect usually. Violet Soul of Steel, which was my Boros deck for such a long time, and I loved it for was it like 2 years, almost 3 years, that before Ryu really dropped. It just played always the same for me, in the sense of, like, yeah, the equipments were different, but it was like equip, draw, attack, or equip, attack, draw until I get into either commander damage, or like the combo, which I'm just gonna show, like the Feast and Famine and Aggravated Assault Wombo combo. So draw, untap lands, use those lands to untap, and then just get another combat phase and win the game. I won 1 out of the 2 games I played. The first game I played, I got the combo off, and it just was like, oh. And then the second game, they all targeted me, and I lost, and it was fine. I think I lost super early. It was a funny game, because Mugi actually was able to take control of Wylith, attack me, and thought he had commander damage. But I'm like, no, I'm actually getting hit for 20 commander damage, not 21. And he was like, oh, shoot. But we just counted the numbers, and he actually did still have lethal regardless, because he had other creatures that if he had attacked with. So we were like, hey, just swing with them, finish me off. It's fine. And I lost super early that game, and I was out of the game for like, I think they continued playing for a while, but it was just like, it got targeted right off the bat. Because they know, again, it's a deck that when I busted out before, it would just do the same things over and over and just kill. So yeah, a deck that I think I might still just have in the background, but at one point was my most expensive deck, but I've taken a lot out. So it's more of a budget deck right now, and it still does pretty good. I say budget when it has a proxy still of like Feast and Famine and Aggravated Assault, because I put those elsewhere. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna play this as much this year. Maybe once, maybe one time for fun. But it's a deck that it knows what it's trying to do, and we already have players who do the Voltron stuff anyways. And I like my reused Voltron because I can still pump them up, but then I have creatures that give me value. So like Ryu has more of a balance, while Wyleth is just like all aggro all the time, and it's just something I'm not really into nowadays. We got Baracos, Party Leader. This is a very big example of why 100% really sometimes doesn't mean 100%, because I only played this deck once, and I didn't even really play it. It was a joint game where my best friend, he doesn't really play Magic anymore, but one night he was like, he'll play with the play group. So busted out Baracos, and I got this deck specifically for him because we love playing I can't even remember the name of it anymore, Divinity 2, and obviously Baldur's Gate 3 was coming. We had the beta, and then it's officially out now. So I was like, hey, there's Baldur's Gate, and I just picked this deck up because it was super cheap at the time. I think the only card in it was the Black Market Connections that I was using. So this, like, the shell of it was just sitting around, and I added like a few things here and there. I almost played this for the budget game. I almost really did, because even when I upgraded it, and I say upgrade with quotations because I just added a few dumb things in there, it was still under like $40. So yeah, it's just really good. I like Baracos. I think he's a really fun commander, especially with the folk hero card. I didn't add it. Oops. Folk hero. Oh, duh. I didn't add it, because if we just go back, folk hero's right here. So yeah, with the folk hero and Baracos, it's just really good. You'll draw a card almost every turn. Baracos is on board when you play something. We get the treasures off. We build that party, and it's like a little mini game in the game. And the card I want to add is Greed. The reason why is because with all those treasures, and we didn't really care about life, we almost lost that game as well. I was kind of his astral, and I was like kind of informing him what decisions to make, but it's up to him to make it. So we were just kind of like going back and forth, like, oh, you could do this, and I was like, it's up to you. You can do this or that. And he just didn't care. He didn't care about his life, so he just kept using greed with the treasures he kept making. And he's like, all right, I'm gonna pay 2 life, draw a card, and he just kind of kept drawing until he drew into like a removal spell that needed to take off like the big thing on board and helped him swing through to win the game. I think we legit ended on like 4 life or something in that game, and we were just like, heck yeah, high five. And yeah, it was pretty fun. Like I said, again, you can't judge the 100%. It was just one game, and I'm not really gonna bust this deck out myself unless my best friend wants to play again, and maybe we'll see how he does with it if he ever plays on his own. But now that he's got the grasp of it, but it was just fun being his astral in that game. Hilda, the Icy Crown, my Elsa deck. This, when we pulled it, I was like, oh, we got it. And then I built towards it. It's very budget. It would make it seem like it's a little more expensive. I mean, I guess it is if you want to build it straight from my architect, because I did put in some proxies of cards that I have, like Rhystic Study is in here, Shockland and some other stuff. That really, the deck should only really be about like $25 or something like that, but then because of those cards, it's like $100, and it's not really 100. Those cards can easily be taken out, those 3. I just felt like it needed a little more oomph, and I didn't want to remove my real ones from the other decks, so I was just like, I'll just have proxies and theme them out as Elsa card, like Frozen cards. So yeah, I played this deck 5 times and got 1 win, and that 1 win was a pity win, and I'll tell you why. Because in every game, I was some games I got just blown out, but 2 games I was really close to winning, and one of them I just miscalculated something. I think Nehishi was able to he was able to just do an effect to sacrifice something. Sacrificing something caused another effect, and he got blockers on board, blocked everything, and then I killed everyone else. He killed me, type of deal. And I was like, oh, cool. I can't even be mad. You know, it is what it is. I did not read. And being a Yu-Gi-Oh player, I just can't read. And which was another funny thing about that game I remember is I played Ristic Study and it got destroyed right away. He played another card that whenever people play cards, you can draw cards. No one even realized it except me. I'm like, that's as bad as my Ristic Study. And no one took it off the board. So I'm like, all right, he's just gonna keep drawing cards. And that's how he had so much advantage at that end game that's why I didn't realize that he had these like potential combos and synergies that were just willing to go. But yeah, the one win that I got as a pity one was I was gonna be killed. But good old CM Kevin, he was playing some dragons and he decided to kill everyone else and let me live, and he said go for it. So ice beat dragons, Game of Thrones style. So thank you, CM Kevin, as well. I will say that 2 of my wins this year, this past half year, thanks to Samurai, thanks to CM Kevin, because you guys took pity on me at that point. So yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, Shure, Numbing Depths, just really good, once per turn, or at least it triggers once per turn. The drawing the card just really helps because I have instant tap down stuff, so to just draw a card really helps. And then Bluster Squall to just like this helped me almost win the game against Nehishi. But like I said, he was able to sacrifice something even though it was tapped down and created blockers. But then the game I won, I was able to do this, tap down everything. Like I said, CM Kevin had a little more life, but he decided, like, I was able to do a lot of damage, but not kill damage. He was able to do the kill damage, leave me alive enough so I can, you know, finish him off. So Bluster Squall, really good, just really good overall. If you noticed earlier from the chart, there's a deck I skipped. I just want to talk about this a little bit later. And that's my Aerith deck, which in a video did pop off. But this is one of my losingest decks. But it has Samurai have PTSD because that one win just scars him, or scarred him. And he was always targeting my Aerith deck. He has his Belmore, which is stronger. We have a lot of the same cards actually, because we're both like Izzet decks and like very instant and sorcery based. But we both draw in our different ways. But he does like commanders. I've seen him kill like turn 5, turn 4. Like he can kill super early, and my deck doesn't do that. I'm trying to kill myself, and if I get Lab Man, or at least deck myself out. And if I have Lab Man, then cool, great. Or if I have if I storm off and I have like one of those things that like ping everybody, cool, great. But yeah, I was able to get 1 win off this out of, what is it, 5 games. I was able also to get out of 5 games 1 win. Again, due to sheer luck sometimes. Like this deck just wins out of sheer luck because I have no control. And I built this deck because one of our friends was like, I don't want to ever play blue because I hate counter spells. And I was like, well, I'll play a deck where I can't even have counter spells because I don't even have a hand. So that's why I built this Aerith, and I really like it. I enjoy this. This is another deck where I don't even know if I'll ever disband because of how fun it is. Like I don't know what I'm gonna play half the time, or not even half the time, freaking like 1/4 of the time. I don't even know what I'm gonna play. I'm just like, or 3/4 of the time. It's just I don't know. I don't know. But some good cards are Lelia, Blade Reforged, because instead of drawing, we exile cards from the library, and Lelia likes that a lot. So I get that +1/+1 counter, and then she attacks, and then I get another +1/+1 counter. So it's just really good synergy there. And then Mizzix's Mastery is the thing that won me the game on the video before the move. And since then, I haven't really gotten to get it off. Like sometimes I mill it so early, or I exile it so early. One time I did actually get it off. And that might have been the game I won yet again over here. So very, very like hard to win with this deck, but it's satisfying. And I think that's the part. If I do get the win, it is super satisfying. And lastly, the deck that I was playing, the 12th Doctor, and I have not lost with this deck as of yet. 3 games in the upgrade version, and then 1 game that we had when we played on Halloween. If you go back to the chart, where we all just played the precons, and I used the 12th Doctor as my commander with Clara, and we played Plane Chase. And in that game, that was the first time I got to play 12th Doctor, and in that game, it was really close back and forth, but we got on the plane that turns your creatures into cats and gives them 2 +1/+1 counters. So I was able just to, like, because there's so much +1/+1 synergies in this deck, in the precon, I was able to win it. I also got the 13th Doctor on board, and she was able to untap everything. So I had blockers. Like, I was good. Like, I was really happy. Mogi was playing the old Doctors and almost won it, but because of all my synergies and because I had blockers, I ran away with the game at the end. That was really it. But in my deck, the version I play, my upgrade version, Outpost Siege, really good card. I almost never miss my land drop. When I get this down, and if I exile a land, I'm playing that land. I'm not playing from my hand. I don't really care. I can use my hand for discard fodder or just like thread in, like, hey, I have an answer. But yeah, so this card has been MVP for me for so long, and so has this card. I was almost gonna cut this card, but last night together has won me 2 games out of the 4 games last year that I played with. I mean, yeah, one of them being the precons, but 2 of them, it won 2 out of the 3 that I won, just because that extra combat, the vigilance, indestructible. Oh my goodness, it is so good. I don't think I'll take this card out. It's just proven its worth. It looks like the worst card in my deck, but it's so good, and I like it so much. It is gruel to the max, I guess you can say. It just hits really hard. And in this year, I got to play my the 12th Doctor, and again, this card came in clutch because someone was threatening a win, and I needed the 2 combat steps to take this person out and let the game continue, because he just had a card that says, if I get to my upkeep, I win. I'll let you speculate on what that card is. But he did not get to his turn. We were all able as a team to take him out, continue the game. But in doing so, like, I just had so much more advantage and everything. So yeah, those were again, these are the numbers and everything. Take that with what you will. Thank you for listening to me. These are just my thoughts. Some things I guess I can take away is I really like +1/+1 counters. Olivia, Ryu, Aurelia, Hilda even, and then the 12th and Clara. A lot of them do use +1/+1 counters, and I think that's just a math thing. I think it's just fun to get the right numbers and to, like, see them grow. I guess in front of me, it's like little children. My kids, they're growing up right in front of me. They're now gonna wipe out the board. It's really cool. And for some decks that just don't win, like Archelos, Chandra, it's just like, yeah, it's fine. And Aurelia, Aerith, whatever you want to say. They're just really fun, and I think that's the first part of Commander that is most important, which is just have fun with your play group, with your friends, whatever it may be. I think when you're having fun, it doesn't matter if you lose, and when you win, it's pretty cool. But you know, just hanging out with them this past half year. I thank you guys for coming over to my place. It was like every week, but every week that you guys could make it. Thank you so much. We got like 2 to 3 games. I think this last one on the new year, because we didn't all meet up for the holidays, we got like 6 games in. But yeah, the times you're all there. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm so appreciative of you guys. We talk a lot of trash, fun trash sometimes, and other times we're being really nice. It's just being what friends are there for. So, yeah, not to get too mushy, but thank you again. And to everyone listening and watching, take with this what you will. Hopefully your play group, you can see your cards or your decks, see if it inspires you to like keep track, to see where they're at, whether you want to disband some or not, or some are too powerful, some are maybe need a little more like tools. So yeah, just let me know down below your guys' thoughts. This is my thoughts. This is kind of my own rant and stuff. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. All right, peace.